Alright, so this is Diesel We the People News. One more time. Alrighty, so this video is going to be without prejudice, without recourse, and I'm reserving all my rights in the whole wide world. Alright. I'm not an attorney, so if I say anything in this, it's just my opinion. It's a learning video. Take it as such. If you need an attorney, then by gosh, go get one. This one's really interesting, and I like this guy right here. Number one, as far as I know, he has not lied to me, so I do trust him more than I do any type of attorneys, government officials, of any sort, fashion, way. I don't trust the president, all the way down to, jeez, the police. Alright? They're all liars. They create lies to make you believe that you are nuts. So, if they're trying to force me to think I'm nuts, then I should not trust them. And I trust everybody out there, except the ones that they believe that all these other people are speaking the truth. Then you should not trust them either. Alright. Well, let's get into this pretty quickly, but I do want to bring up something. For those people out there who've never seen a TV series called Continuum, Continuum. Alright? Check it out, but when you check it out again, if you have seen it, and since we have become smarter, wiser than our government officials of any sort, fashion, and don't have balls and chains like the attorneys do, look at that one more time, and look at it in a different light now, right? That in the future, corporations has taken over the United States. Okay? And they have all these fancy electronics because these corporations built it and all that. But since you understand, or should by now, that the Title 28 USC 3002, 15 Section A, I believe, A or B, but double check, verify. It's been a while since I looked it up, but I believe it's A. And I believe he may say it in this video anyway. He brings it up fairly often, and it's a corporation. So the TV series, if you look at it as the United States is the business, and you look at these terrorist people on this TV show as actually the Republic, and then you got these other people that's just kind of going day by day and not minding no P's and Q's. If you look at it that way, then you may understand the movie a little bit better, how it resonates in today's society. This is very important, so here we go. And I'm going to make this probably a two-part video because it extends.
So a good friend a while back mentioned this AAMVA, and I just haven't had time to get to look at it because as of lately,
I'm sorry. Subscribe to the guy up in the corner there. Alright. Okay. Geez, I don't even have my glasses on. Where the clouds are gathering. Alright.
been studying positive law, okay? And there's only 27 actual titles of the USC that are positive law. But this evening, Brian Parker had posted the AAMVA again. The gentleman that I heard it from the first time was not Brian Parker. It was another guy out of another group. However, so well, screw it. Let's do a little change of venue, a little change of topic, and go look at what these gentlemen have discovered. And you are not going to believe the shit that is in this. So let's just start out first by what the AAMVA is. It's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. Okay, that's the AAMVA. All right, and everybody I've been talking to, I've been telling them, hey, hit up the DMV and ask them if you're required by law to register your private household consumer good. Of course, the answer is always no. But as I delve into the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administration, one, I just want to tell you from what I'm reading what they actually do, and then we'll get into their bylaws. And this is just so fucking absolutely crazy, all right? The AAMVA's jurisdiction members are comprised of the 50 United States, District of Columbia, 5 U.S. territories, 10 Canadian provinces, and 3 Canadian territories, and the agencies within those jurisdictions who administer and enforce motor vehicle laws. Okay? So again, it's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. However, they're also in 10 Canadian provinces and 3 Canadian territories, and also in Mexico. Now, I'm just going through their website, and it is absolutely blowing me away. The AAMVA members, again, that's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, handles driver's license, vehicle registration, and titling, and roadway law enforcement. AAMVA is organized into 4 regions to facilitate the sharing of geographic priorities. See the list of jurisdictions that fall within each region below. Now, as I read this to...
Okay. Where in the world do they even have the right to say they have jurisdiction in the first place?
You're just going to think, well, you know, Derek, it's the law. No. This is so much more than what is actual law. And you have to remember what they're actually governing is commerce. But when you read who is involved in this, it'll blow your mind. Benefits: jurisdictional membership in the AAMVA, and again, that's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, okay? The benefits are as follows: access to our online membership, online directory, complimentary subscription to AAMVA's award-winning Move magazine, complimentary subscription to the AAMVA's membership-only weekly e-news, TWIR, the Week in Review, and regional news. It just goes on and on and on. But let me tell you who the four jurisdictions are here. Jurisdiction 1, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Pennsylvania, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Rhode Island, and Vermont. That's number 1. That's the first jurisdiction. Number 2, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, Virginia Islands, West Virginia, and Puerto Rico. That's number 2. Number 3, the third jurisdiction: Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Manitoba, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. That's the third one. The fourth one, all right, pay attention. This is the AMAVA, the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, okay? Number 4, the fourth jurisdiction: Alaska, Alberta, America Samoa, Arizona, British Columbia, California, Colorado, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Northern Mariana Islands, Northwest Territories, Nunavut, Oregon, Saskatchewan, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and the Yukon Territories. Now, I've just explained to you their private association membership, American Association of Motor Vehicles Administrators. Now I'm going to show you their bylaws. Now remember, anything that has bylaws is a fucking corporation, all right? Whether it be a non-profit organization or for-profit corporate organization, this American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators.
Your county, when they pass ordinance on your property and all that, it's a bylaw. It's a corporation. Your city, bylaws, corporation.
Is in fact a non-profit, non-governmental organization, and they are the ones that the DMV is operating through, which just blows my fucking mind. Check this out. American Association of Motor Vehicles Administrators Bylaws, Article 1, name. The name of this organization is an American Association of Motor Vehicles Administrators, AAMVA, or the association. Article 2, membership. Section 1, membership, jurisdiction, good standing, authorized participation. A, the members' jurisdiction of the association member jurisdiction shall include each state of the United States, American Samoa, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, United States Virgin Islands, each province and territory of Canada, and such additional jurisdictions as may be approved by the member jurisdiction at the annual membership meeting. B, a member jurisdiction shall be considered in good standing if it is not delinquent in paying dues required to be paid in accordance with these bylaws. Okay, so it means that the DMV is paying dues to be part of this membership association. Remember, the DMV goes into a cooperative agreement with the DMV to reap the benefits of people being fleeced for driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, all that shit. Let's move on here. Section 2, voting. Only member jurisdiction in good standing shall be entitled to vote at all annual membership meetings. Each member jurisdiction eligible to vote shall have one vote prior to each annual membership meeting. Each member jurisdiction eligible to vote shall designate in writing the individual who shall be authorized to vote on behalf of such member jurisdiction at the annual membership meeting. 3. Section 3, governmental members. The Board of Directors may elect departments and agencies of the United States, Canada, and Mexican federal governments and state and local governmental units of any of the foregoing governmental members in accordance with membership criteria established by the Board of Directors from time to time. Governmental members shall have such privileges and obligations, not including eligibility to vote at meetings of the association, as the Board of Directors shall determine. Section 4, associated members. The Board of Directors of the association may elect individuals and businesses or other organizations as associated members in accordance with membership criteria established by the Board of Directors of the association from time to time. Associate members shall have such privileges and obligations, not including eligibility to vote at meetings of the association, as the Board of Directors of the association shall determine. Article 3, regions of the association. The association shall be divided into 4 regions. The activities of the AAMVA regions shall be conducted through affiliated regional corporations in accordance with their respective articles of incorporation and bylaws. The region shall consist of the following member jurisdictions: 1, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Brunswick, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Newfoundland, and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Pennsylvania, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Number 2 is Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, United States Virgin Islands, Virginia, and West Virginia. 3. Region 3 is Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Manitoba, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. And the 4th region is Alaska, Alberta, American Samoa, Arizona, British Columbia, California, Colorado, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Northwest Territories, Novat, Oregon, Saskatchewan, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and the Yukon. Do you understand what I'm reading to you guys, ladies and gentlemen? This shit should blow your fucking mind. This is a private, non-profit, non-government organization that has put in place provisions for which your state can engage in entering into contract with these people to force you to get license plate, registration, proof of insurance, all this bullshit to enforce traffic laws, okay? Article 4, Officers. Section 1, Officers. The officers of the association shall include the chair of the board, first vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, president and chief executive officer, and treasurer. The chief of the board, the first vice chair, the second vice chair, and the secretary shall be elected in the member's jurisdiction at the annual membership meeting. The chair of the board shall appoint as treasurer a person who possesses the nature and extent of experience required to qualify as a financial expert, as such terms is defined in the charter for the Finance, Investment, and Audit Committee. The president and the chief executive officer shall be selected and appointed by the board of directors. Section 2, Terms of Office. The chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, and secretary shall hold office for 1 year or until their successor have been elected. The term of the treasurer shall be 1 year or until a successor has been appointed. The treasurer shall be eligible for reappointment. The term of president and chief executive officer shall be determined by the board of directors. Oh, wow. What do I want to get into here? Duties of the officers. Okay. All right, so this is just their bylaws. Not that big of a deal. Let's go back for a second. I want to just show you guys something in this fucking rat trap menagerie of horseshit. So now we know what they are, okay? They're basically a private member association. They're a nonprofit, non-government organization who is contracting with the DMV and implementing quote-unquote legislation. Let's see here, because they got policies over here. Legislative and regulatory alerts, federal legislation, model legislation. Okay, AAMVA tracks federal legislation that affects our members' businesses. We send out regular legislative and regulatory alerts to keep members informed and up to date. In this section, you can also find a link to an external website that maintains current and pending legislation. We also provide members with in-depth analysis of select legislation as well as model legislation on key topics to assist members' legislative efforts. View our legislation. Well, that's not what I wanted to get into. I want to get into one of these that really will show you who these motherfuckers are. Let me just find it. Rules and regulations. Maybe this one's it. As I was going through this website, I was just blown away by this shit. Where's it at? Comments on proposed regulation. Here's court cases. So on this website, they have court cases. Now remember, this is who you're really entering into contract with when you get registration, all this shit. It's not the state, it's these motherfuckers. Newborough Heights versus Ohio. Ohio Supreme Court upholds slashing state funding for cities collecting traffic camera fines. Washington v. Frazier, 2022. Washington Supreme Court decides drivers can receive a DUI after marijuana use. NFIB v. OSHA, 2022. The U.S. Supreme Court strikes down OSHA vaccination mandate for businesses with 100 plus employees.
Shouldn't think about that, y'all. Strike down with 100 or more employees. Now, if you have less than 100, that is in direct conflict. One man has a right as much as 100 men has a right, as 1,000,000, as 1,000,000,000. And what they're saying, this corporation can do what they want as long as they have X amount of employees, and that is discrimination.
Tahalicock, must be in Canada, versus Bond Rivas Villages versus, 2021. The Supreme Court upholds qualified immunity doctrine. New Jersey versus Boston, 2021. Police cannot ask for a passenger's identification during routine traffic stops without grounds. New Jersey versus...
Recognize that, right? Police officers cannot ask. But they keep saying they can ask. But right here it says they cannot ask.
Carter, New Jersey versus Rosado, 2021, New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that police cannot stop vehicles for partially obscured license plates. I mean, just the shit that they got on here will blow your mind.
Cannot pull you over for partially obscured license plates. What are they doing, y'all? Exactly.
Executive orders. Let's see what the executive orders are. The executive orders of the president issue executive actions to guide federal agencies and department heads. Executive actions with an impact to the motor vehicle and law enforcement community can be found below. Executive order on advancing effective, accountable policing and criminal justice practices in enhanced public trust and public safety. President Executive Order on advancing effectiveness, accountable policing, and criminal justice practices to enhance public trust and public safety. Executive Order on transforming federal customer experience and service delivery to rebuild trust in government. Executive Order on strengthening American leadership in clean cars and trucks. Executive Order on improving the national...
Okay, so I'm just out of curiosity. Maybe something we should look into right quick when we get a chance. So we got some of these First Amendment auditors and cop watchers and all that being forced to ID under duress and this, that, here, and there, which is what these people want. However, under duress, I wonder if you can actually file a complaint on them officers with this corporation and have a bad rep under their corporation. Don't know.
Cybersecurity, that's not quite what I was looking for. Hold on. We'll find it. Maybe it's in policies and positions. Here we go. All right. So, again, this is the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. And people have been telling me to come check this out for a while because I was going through a case where they were trying to charge me a tax for a used vehicle that had been taxed multiple times over, and I was telling them they could fuck off because I'm not paying them a fucking thing, right? Okay? AAMVA policy defined member-driven interpretation or views on specific issues within the motor vehicle and law enforcement membership community. Adopted policies are designed as guidelines for members to use in comparing departmental and administrative procedures, for staff to use in program planning, and for making determinations on AAMVA consensus. Adopted policies serve as the official position of AAMVA and convey the general sentiments of the organization as a community. Although not all policies are supported by every AAMVA membership jurisdiction, they don't represent a consensus opinion. They do represent a consensus opinion on state and provincial officials charged with the responsibility for administrating the motor vehicle law enforcement, traffic safety, and highway safety law. Remember, guys, this is a non-profit fucking organization that is a non-governmental entity that has created this shit, okay? You are not bound to participate with these fucking whack-a-moles. These sons of bitches, these fucking hoodwinking, scandalous pieces of shit. The AAMVA policy process serves as a mechanism for the development of member-driven stances on issues of importance facing the motor vehicle community. Remember, motor vehicle is something that's engaged in commerce. You're not operating a motor vehicle to go to and from your fucking house or to and from work, from home, or blah, blah, blah. All right, the motor vehicle code is for vehicles engaged in commerce to keep the highways, freeways, and byways safe for everybody else that travels on them. An effective policy process is essential in coordinating efforts and standardizing responses through member engagement. The defined process is carried by the approval of the AAMVA Board of Directors. Again, this Board of Directors is a private nonprofit organization that is distinct and single and separate from the government, okay? Although they do have government contractors that participate with them. The purpose of this process is to enlarge census in the development of a unified and therefore strengthened position on issues facing the AAMVA membership. To view policy position
To strengthen.
by discipline or topic, please visit our search result page. Policy process. Each jurisdiction is responsible for naming a dedicated policy voting delegate. The policy voting delegate shall represent the interest of the entire jurisdiction for purposes of casting the single policy vote for that jurisdiction. 2, convey the appropriate information to any additional parties in the state. 3, notify AAMVA of any changes in voting representation. Upon introduction of the policies by the jurisdiction in good standing, the policy will be assigned to the AAMVA committee with primary jurisdiction over the issue. A simple majority of votes by the committee shall be considered sufficient to pass the policy. Upon passage, the policy shall be referred to the AAMVA Board of Directors. A simple majority of votes by the AAMVA Board of Directors shall be considered to pass the policy. Upon passage, the policy will be routed to the designated voting representatives in each of the AAMVA member jurisdiction in good standing. This distribution will coincide with the opening of the policy ballot. Remember, again, the AAMVA is a private, non-profit, non-governmental organization. What the fuck are they doing in passing these provisions for the road? The policy will remain open for 30 days, whereby a simple majority shall be considered sufficient to pass the policy. Votes not returned or transmitted within 30 days shall not be counted in the vote tally. Upon passage by a simple majority of the AAMVA membership, I mean, these guys aren't government, they're not legislator, they're not body politic, they're not your fucking congressmen, they're not your governors, they're not your senators, they're not your fucking legislators. In good standing, the passed policy shall be published as an...
They have no oath of office of any sort, way, or fashion. And all they are, y'all, is Walmart. So you got the CEO Walmart doing all this to you. And I'm just using Walmart because it's well known, right? So basically, that's all the power they have is a Walmart. But the CEOs gave themselves all this magic powers.
AAMVA policy position. Policies deemed unfavorable at any time in the review process must be returned to submitting party with clarification. If the ballot is determined to contain time-sensitive information, any and all steps may be satisfied through electronic or telephonic communications and means. Now, let's scroll down here to the bottom of this. So I wanted to find out kind of how much fucking power these fucking pieces of shit presume and assume to have. Let me just show you something. I go to Appendix G, Acceptable Identification Documents List. Now just hear me out on this. This is fucking crazy. Alright, remember, this is the AAMVA, American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. Any person applying for a new or duplicated driver's license or identification card is required to submit one of the primary or secondary documents from the following list. A primary document must contain the full name and date of birth and must be verified, i.e. you must be able to contact the issuing agency to determine authenticity of said document. Primary documents. Photo driver's license cannot be expired more than 1 year. State issued photo ID card cannot be expired more than 1 year. Certified copy of driver's license or ID card, DL or ID, cannot be expired more than 1 year. 4. Certificate of birth, U.S. or Canada issued, must be original or certified copy, have a raised seal, and be issued by the Bureau of Vital Statistics or State Board of Health. Hospital-issued certificates are not acceptable. Now, birth certificate right on the motherfucker says that it is not to be used as a form for identification. Secondly, your social security card and all that stuff and birth certificate as well say that these are very valuable documents and you are not to give them to fucking anybody for any fucking reason. All right? So who are these people that the American Association of Motor Vehicles Administrators, who happen to run Canada and Mexico's licensing procedures, who are a non-profit, non-government organization who the states enter into contract with? 5, INS documents also...
We'll go even a step further than that. The Real ID Act. I'm assuming it came from these people. But I'm assuming. I'm not going by facts. But it seemed to me they're calling out birth certificates and this and this and this. What do you got to have now to get the real ID? Right? So who's these people that came up with this law that violates a law? You're not supposed to use these birth certificates, Social Security for ID yet. They said we're going to violate a law. Or force you to violate a law, number one. So therefore, when you do this on this Real ID Act and give out the birth certificate, your Social Security for the ID and all that, you're automatically guilty. You just committed some type of law-breaking deal, and now everybody's walking around with these real IDs because they broke the law to get it. Think about that for a minute.
Follows. Also as follows. Certificate of Naturalization, Certificate of Citizenship, Northern Mariana Card, American Indian Card, U.S. Citizen Identification Card, Resident Alien Card, Temporary Resident Identification, Non-Resident Alien Canadian Border Crossing Card, Record of Arrival and Departure, Record of Arrival and Departure with attached photo stamp, processed for 1-551 stamp, permanent resident re-entry permit, refugee travel documents, record of arrival and departure in a certificate of identity, I-94, employment authorization card, I-688A, I-688B, I-766, record of arrival and departure stamp for refugee, parolee, or assailee, I-94. I mean, this shit's just fucking insane when you start looking at this. School IDs, Social Security cards, secondary documents. All primary documents were what I read up above, and there's a long list of them. I'm not going to go through them all. But, I mean, these people, again, non-profit, they're private, they are not government, although they're contracted with the government, or the government has contracted with them for fleecing and extorting people so they can get money for something that otherwise is a right for you to do. All right? So here's a secondary document. All primary documents.
And then we go on that. All right? So these people coming over the border, what are they doing? Right? Getting real IDs. So they can be in the database. So all these people are jumping the border. The first thing they do is adding themselves to the Real ID Act.
2, Bureau of Indian